Hello everyone! I can't tell if the stream started, and I can't tell if I'm too loud. I'm going to check real quick. Hello everyone! Yeah, okay, my volume is fine. So today I'm reading part 2 of The Little Prince. It's been a while. And I definitely forgot the voices that I made for each character, so they're going to be a little different. So I'm just going to show you the PDF that I read off of, so you guys can follow along and know which character is actually talking, if I change the voices that drastically. So, yeah. Okay. The fifth planet was very curious. It was the smallest of them all. There was just enough room to house a lamppost and a street lamp lighter. The little prince could not explain how a street lamp or a lamp lighter could be used somewhere in the sky on a planet without a house or a population. However, he said to himself, maybe this man is absurd. However, it is less absurd than the king, the vain, the businessman, and the drinker. At least his work makes sense. When he lights his lamppost, it is as if he were creating another star or a flower. When he turns off his lamppost, it puts the flower or the star to sleep. It is a very pretty occupation. This is really useful since it is beautiful. When he approached the planet, he greeted the lighter respectfully. "Hello, why did you just turn off your street lamp?" "That is the order," replied the lighter. "Hello." "What is the deposit?" "It is to extinguish my lamppost. Good evening." And he rekindled it. "But why have you just turned it on?" "That is the order," replied the lighter. "I do not understand," said the little prince. "There is nothing to understand," said the lighter. "The set point is the set point. Hello." And he put out his street lamp. Then he wiped his forehead with a red checked handkerchief. "I'm doing a terrible trade there. It was reasonable in the past. I switched off in the morning and switched on at night. I had the rest of the day to rest, and the rest of the night to sleep." "And since that time the order has changed?" "The order has not changed," said the lighter. "That is a tragedy. The planet from year to year has turned faster and faster, and the deposit has not changed." "So," said the little prince, "so now that she is doing 1 turn a minute, I have no more rest." Okay, I honestly can't tell who's talking. That is, my bad. I'm so sorry. Okay, "So," said the little prince, "so now that she is doing 1 turn a minute, I have no more rest. I turn on and off once a minute." "Now that's funny. The days at your house last a minute?" "It's not funny at all," said the lighter. "It's been a month since we've been talking together." "A month?" "Yes, 30 minutes, 30 days, good evening." And he reignited his lamppost. The little prince looked at him, and he loved this lighter who was so faithful to the instructions. He remembered the sunsets that he himself once went looking for, drying his chair. He wanted to help his friend. "You know, I know a way to rest when you want." "I always want," said the lighter. "For one can be both faithful and lazy." The little prince continued. Your planet is so small that you go around it in 3 strides. You only have to walk slowly to stay in the sun. When you want to rest, you will walk, and the day will last as long as you want." "It does not help me much," said the lighter. "What I like about life is sleeping." "It's not lucky," said the little prince. "No luck," said the lighter. "Hello." And he put out his street lamp. "That one, said the little prince. As he pursued his journey further, he would be despised by all the others, by the king, by the vain, by the drinker, by the businessman. However, it is the only one that does not seem ridiculous to me. It is perhaps because he cares about nothing but himself. He sighs with regret and says to himself again, This is the only one I could have made my friend, but his planet is really too small. There is no room for two. What the little prince did not dare to admit was that he regretted this blessed planet because, above all, of the 1,440 sunsets in 24 hours. This PDF is probably not written the best. It's fine. We're fine. We're fine, guys. Chapter 15, I think. The sixth planet was a planet 10 times larger. It was inhabited by an old gentleman who wrote enormous books. Here's an explorer, cried he, when he perceived the little prince. The little prince sat down on the table and breathed a little. He already had traveled so much. Where do you come from? Said the old man. What is this big book? Sorry, that is the wrong person. This is why streaming is a little bit more difficult. Where do you come from? Said the old gentleman. What is this big book? Said the little prince. What are you doing here? I'm a geographer, said the old gentleman. What is a geographer? He is a scientist who knows where the seas, rivers, cities, mountains, and deserts are. That is very interesting, said the little prince. It's finally a real job. And he cast a glance around him on the geographer's planet. He had never seen a planet so majestic. It is very beautiful, your planet. Are there oceans? I cannot know, said the geographer. Ah, the little prince was disappointed. And mountains? I cannot know, said the geographer. And cities and rivers and deserts? I cannot know it either, said the geographer. But you're a geographer. But you're a geographer. That's right, said the geographer. But I am not an explorer. I absolutely lack explorers. It is not the geographer who will count cities, rivers, mountains, seas, oceans, and deserts. The geographer is too important to stroll. He does not leave his office, but he receives the explorers there. He interrogates them and takes note of their memories, and if the memories of one of them seems interesting to him, the geographer makes investigate the morality of the explorer. Why this? Because an explorer who lies would cause catastrophes in the books of geography, and also an explorer who would drink too much. Why this? Said the little prince. Because drunks see double. Then the geographer would note 2 mountains where there is only one. I know somebody, said the little prince, who would be a bad explorer. It's possible, so when the morality of the explorer seems good, an inquiry is made into his discovery. We will see? No, it's too complicated, but the explorer is required to provide evidence. If, for example, the discovery of a large mountain is required, it is required to bring large stones. The geographer was suddenly moved. But you come from a distance. You're an explorer. You're going to describe your planet. And the geographer, having opened his register, cut his pencil. We first note in pencil the narratives of the explorers. Oh, wait. We first note in pencil the narratives of the explorers. It is expected to note in ink that the explorer has provided evidence. So, inquired the geographer. "Oh, at home," said the little prince. "It's not very interesting. It's very small. I have 3 volcanoes, 2 active volcanoes, and an extinct volcano. But we never know." "You never know," said the geographer. "I also have a flower." "We do not notice flowers," said the geographer. "Why this? This is the nicest." "Because flowers are ephemeral." I'm gonna see if I said that correctly.
Ephemeral.
I did. Okay, cool. Because flowers are ephemeral. What does ephemeral mean? "Geographies," said the geographer, "are the most serious books in all books. They never go out of style. It is very rare that a mountain changes its place. It is very rare that an ocean empties its water. We write eternal things." "But the extinct volcanoes can wake up," interrupted the little prince. "What does ephemeral mean?" "Whether volcanoes are extinguished or awakened is the same for us," said the geographer. "What matters to us is the mountain. It does not change." "But what does ephemeral mean?" repeated the little prince, who had never given up a question in his life once he asked it. "It means who is threatened with the near disappearance." "My flower is threatened with disappearance soon?" "Of course." "My flower is ephemeral?" thought the little prince. "And she has only 4 thorns to defend herself against the world, and I left her alone with me." This was his first movement of regret, but he resumed his courage. "What do you advise me to visit?" he asked. "Planet Earth," replied the geographer. "She has a good reputation." And the little prince went away, thinking of his flower. I am so sorry. This is very bad. Very bad. Okay. Chapter 16. The 7th planet was therefore the Earth. The Earth is not a planet of any kind. There are 111 kings, not forgetting, of course, the Negro kings. 7,000 geographers, 900,000 businessmen, 7.5 million drunkards, 311 million vain, about 2 billion large people. To give you an idea of the dimensions of the Earth, I will tell you that before the invention of electricity, there was to be maintained on all 6 continents a genuine army of 462,511 lighters of street lamps. Seen from a little distance, it made a splendid effect. The movements of this army were regulated like those of an operatic ballet. First came the turn of street lamp lighters from New Zealand and Australia. Then, having lit their lanterns, they went to sleep. Then the dancers of the lamps of China and Siberia entered the dance. Then they also slipped backstage. Then came the turn of the lighters of street lamps of Russia and the Indies, then those of Africa and Europe, then those of South America, then those of North America, and they never erred in their order of entry. It was great. The only lighter of the single street lamp of the North Pole and his colleague of the only street lamp of the South Pole led lives of idleness and nonchalance. They worked twice a year. Chapter 17. When one wants to make the mind, it happens that one lying a little. What? I read that correctly, I think. I'm going to read that again. When one wants to make the mind, it happens that one lying a little. Okay, it's not just me. It's the sentence. Anyways, I was not very honest in telling you about street lighter. I risk giving a false idea of our planet to those who do not know it. Men occupy very little space on Earth. If the 2 billion inhabitants who inhabit the land were standing up and a little tight, as if for a meeting, they would easily lodge in a public square 20 miles long and 20 miles wide. We could put humanity on the smallest little island in the Pacific. Great people, of course, will not believe you. They imagine they hold a lot of space. They see themselves important as baobabs. You will advise them to do the calculation. They love the numbers. It will please them. But do not waste your time on this pensum. It's useless. You trust me. The little prince, once on land, was therefore much surprised to see no one. He was already afraid of being mistaken about the planet when a ring of moonlight stirred in the sand. "Good night," said the little prince at all hazards. "Good night," said the serpent. "On what planet have I fallen?" asked the little prince. "On the earth, in Africa," replied the serpent. "Ah, so there is nobody on earth?" "Here is the desert." "There is no one in deserts. The earth is great," says the serpent. The little prince sat down on the stone and raised his eyes to the sky. "I wonder. If the stars are illuminated so that everyone can one day find his own, look at my planet. She's just above us. But how far is she?" "She is beautiful," said the serpent. "What are you doing here?" "I have difficulties with the flower," said the little prince. "Ah," the serpent said, and they were silent. "Where are the men?" resumed the little prince. "We are a little alone in the desert." "One is also alone among men," said the serpent. The little prince looked at him for a long time. "You are a funny beast," he said at last, thin as a finger. "But I am more powerful than a king," said the serpent. The little prince smiled. "You're not very powerful. You do not even have paws. You cannot even travel." "I can carry you farther than a ship," said the serpent. He wrapped himself around the ankle of the little prince like a gold bracelet. "The one I touch, I return to the earth from which he came out," he said again. "But you are pure, and you come from a star." The little prince answered nothing. "You pity me." "You are..." Wait, who's saying this? I think it's the serpent. "You pity me, you so weak, on this granite earth. I can help you some day if you regret too much your planet. I can." "Oh, I understood very well," said the little prince. "But why do you always speak in riddles?" "I will resolve them all," said the serpent, and they fell silent. Chapter 18. The little prince crossed the desert and met only a flower with 3 petals, a flower of nothing at all. "Good morning," said the little prince. "Good morning," said the flower. "Where are the men?" the little prince asked politely. The flower, one day, had seen a caravan pass. "Men? There are, I believe, 6 or 7 of them. I saw them years ago, but you never know where to find them. The wind sends them rambling. They lack roots. They are very embarrassed." "Goodbye," said the little prince. "Adieu," said the flower. Chapter 19. The little prince ascended a high mountain. The only mountains he had ever known were the 3 volcanoes that came to his knee, and he used the extinct volcano as a stool. "From a mountain high like this," he said to himself, "I shall suddenly see the whole planet and all the men." But he perceived nothing but sharp needles of rock. "Good morning," he said at random. "Hello, hello, hello," replied the echo. "Who are you?" said the little prince. "Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?" replied the echo. Be my friends. I am alone, he said. I am alone, I am alone, I am alone, replied the echo. What a strange planet, he thought then. It is quite dry, and all pointed and salty, and men lack imagination. They repeat what they are told. At home I had a flower. It always spoke first. Chapter 20. But it happens that the little prince, having for a long time walked through the sands, the rocks, and the snows, at length discovered a road, and the road all go to men. Good morning, he said. It was a garden full of roses. Good morning, said the roses. The little prince looked at them. They all looked like her flower. Who are you? He asked, stunned. We are roses, said the roses. Ah, said the little prince. He felt very unhappy. Her flower had told him that she was the only one of her kind in the universe, and there were 5,000 all alike in one garden. She would be very upset, he said to herself. He said to himself? Okay. If she saw that she would cough so much and pretend to die to escape ridicule, and I would be obliged to pretend to treat her, for otherwise, to humiliate me, she would really let herself die. Then he said to himself again, I thought myself rich with a single flower, and I possess only an ordinary rose. That and my 3 volcanoes which reach me at the knee, and one of which perhaps is extinct forever, does not make me a great prince. And lying in the grass, he will cry. Chapter 21. And then the fox appeared. I'm thinking of a voice to use for the fox. Good morning, said the fox. Good morning, replied the little prince politely, who turned but saw nothing. I am here, said the voice, under the apple tree. Who are you? Said the little prince. You are quite pretty. I am a fox, said the fox. Come play with me, suggested the little prince. I'm so sad. I cannot play with you, said the fox. I am not domesticated. Ah, pardon, said the little prince. But after reflection he added, What does tame mean? You're not from here, said the fox. What are you looking for? I am looking for men, said the little prince. What does tame mean? Men, said the fox. They have rifles and they hunt. It is very embarrassing. They also breed chickens. That is their only interest. Are you looking for chickens? No, said the little prince. I am looking for some friends. What does tame mean? It's too forgotten, said the fox. It means create links. Create links? Of course, said the fox. You are but a little boy to me, like 100,000 little boys, and I do not need you, and you do not need me either. I am only a fox to you, like 100,000 foxes. But if you tame me, we will need one another. You will be unique in the world for me. I will be for you unique in the world. I begin to understand, said the little prince. There is a flower. I think she tamed me. It is possible, said the fox. We see all sorts of things on earth. Oh, it's not on earth, said the little prince. The fox seemed very intrigued. On another planet? Yes. There are hunters on this planet? No. That's interesting. And hens? No. Nothing is perfect, the fox sighed. But the fox returned to his idea. My life is monotonous. I chase chickens, men chase me, all the chickens resemble each other, and all men are alike. So I'm a little bored. But if you tame me, My life will be as a sunny. I will experience a footstep that will be different from all the others, and other steps make me go underground. Yours will call me out of the burrow like a music. And look, you see over there the fields of wheat? I do not eat bread. Wheat is useless for me. The wheat fields do not remind me of anything, and that's sad. But you have golden hair. Then it would be wonderful when you have tamed me. The wheat, which is gilded, will make me remember you, and I will love the sound of the wind, the wheat. The fox fell silent and looked at the little prince for a long time. Please tame me. I will, replied the little prince, but I have not much time. I have friends to discover and a lot to know. We only know the things we tame, said the fox. Men no longer have the time to know anything. They buy ready-made things from merchants, but as there are no merchants of friends, men no longer have friends. If you want a friend, tame me. What should be done? Said the little prince. You must be very patient, replied the fox. You will sit first a little far from me, like that, in the grass. I will look at you from the corner of your eye. You will not say anything. Language is a source of misunderstanding, but every day you can sit a little closer. The next day, the little prince returned. It would have been better to return at the same hour, said the fox. If you come, for example, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and 3 o'clock, I shall begin to be happy. The more time will come, the more happy I will feel. At 4 o'clock I shall be agitated and worried. I shall discover the price of happiness, but if you come any time, I will never know what time to dress my heart. It takes rights. I hear my mom. Hold on one moment. I am so sorry. How do I... Alright, every time she's like singing, I'm just gonna like pause. I don't want to be like, I'm recording, because that's lame. Anyways. Where was I? It's too much forgotten, said the fox. This is what makes one day different from other days, 1 hour, other hours. There's a rite, for example, among my hunters. They dance on Thursday with the girls of the village, then Thursday is a wonderful day. I'll walk up in the vineyard. The hunters danced at any time. The days would all be alike, and I would have no holiday. So the little prince tamed the fox, and when the hour of departure was near, "Ah," said the fox, "I will weep." "It is your fault," said the little prince. "I did not wish you any harm, but you wanted me to tame you." "Of course," said the fox. "But you're going to cry," said the little prince. "Of course," said the fox. "Then you gain nothing." "I win," said the fox, "because of the color of the corn." And he added, "Go and see the roses again. You will understand that yours is unique in the world. You will return to say goodbye to me, and I will make you a present of a secret." The little prince went to see the roses again. "You are not at all like my rose. You are nothing yet," he said. No one has tamed you, and you have not tamed anyone. You're like my fox. It was only a fox like 100,000 others, but I made him my friend, and he is now unique in the world." And the roses were very embarrassed. "You are beautiful, but you are empty," he said again. You cannot die for you. Of course, my rose, an ordinary passerby, would think that she resembles you, but it alone is more important than you all, since it is she that I watered, since it was she whom I placed under the globe, since it was she whom I sheltered by the screen, since it was she whose caterpillars I have killed, except the 2 or 3 butterflies, since it is she whom I have listened to complaining or boasting or even sometimes silent, since it is my rose. And he returned to the fox. Adieu, he said. Goodbye, said the fox. Here is my secret. It is very simple. One sees only with the heart. What is essential is invisible to the eye. The essential thing is invisible to the eyes, repeated the little prince in order to remember. It's the time you lost for your rose that makes your rose so important. It's the time you lost for your rose that makes your rose so important. It is the time I lost for my rose, said the little prince in order to remember. Excuse me! Okay. Men have forgotten this truth, said the fox. But you must never forget it. You become responsible forever for what you have tamed. You're responsible for your rose. I am responsible for my rose, repeated the little prince in order to remember. Chapter 22. We're almost to the end, kind of, I think. Yes, anyways. Good morning, said the little prince. Now what voice should I... Good morning. No. Good morning. Good This is so embarrassing. Good morning, said the switchman. What are you doing here? Said the little prince. I'm sorting out the travelers in bundles of 1,000, said the switchman. I ship the trains that take them, sometimes to the right, sometimes to the left. And a flashing light thundering like a roar made the switching cab tremble. They are in a great hurry, said the little prince. What are they looking for? The man of the locomotive ignores it himself, said the switchman. And in a reverse direction, a second illuminated flash fell. They're coming back already? Asked the little prince. They're not all the same, said the switchman. It's an exchange. They were not happy where they were? One is never satisfied where one is, said the switchman, and scolded the thunder of the third rapid illuminated. They are pursuing the first travelers? Asked the little prince. They are not pursuing anything at all, said the switchman. They sleep in it, or they yawn. The children alone crush their noses against the windows. Children alone know what they are looking for? Said the little prince. They lose time for a rag doll and it becomes very important. And if they are taken away, they cry. They're lucky. Chapter 23. Good morning, said the little prince. Good morning, said the merchant. He was a merchant of sophisticated pills, which appeased thirst. One swallows one a week, and one no longer feels the need to drink. Why do you sell that? Said the little prince. It's a big saving of time, said the merchant. Experts have made calculations. We save 53 minutes a week. And what do we do for 53 minutes? We make what we want. Said the little prince, if I had 53 minutes to spend, I would walk slowly towards a fountain. Chapter 24. We were on the 8th day of my breakdown in the desert, and I had listened to the merchant's story, drinking the last drop of my supply of water. Ah, I said to the little prince. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. I understand. Ah, I said to the little prince. Wait. So the little prince is here. Okay, is the... Yeah. Okay. Ah, I said to the little prince. They are very pretty, your memories, but I have not yet repaired my plane. I have nothing more to drink, and I should also be happy if I could walk gently towards a fountain. My friend the fox, he said. My little fellow, it's no longer the fox. Why? Because we're going to die of thirst. What? I'm so confused. Oops. I'm a little bit confused, just a little bit. Okay. Yeah. My friend the fox, he said. My little fellow, it's no longer the fox. Wait, my little fellow, it's no longer the fox. Why? Because we're going to die of thirst. He did not understand my reasoning, but he replied, It's nice to have a friend, even if we're going to die. I am very glad to have had a friend fox. He does not measure danger, I said. He never has neither hunger nor thirst. A little sunlight is enough. But he looked at me and answered my thought. I'm thirsty too. Look for a well. I made a gesture of wariness. It is absurd to look for a well at random in the immensity of the desert. Nevertheless, we set out on the march. When we had walked for hours in silence, night fell and the stars began to light. I saw them as if in a dream, having a little fever because of my thirst. The words of the little prince danced in my memory. Are you thirsty then too? I asked him, but he did not answer my question. He simply says, Water can also be good for the heart. I did not understand his answer, but I was silent. I knew he should not be interrogated. He was tired. He sat. I sat down beside him, and after a pause he said, The stars are beautiful because of a flower that one does not see. I answered, Of course, and I looked without speaking. The folds of sand under the moon. The desert is beautiful. Oh, the desert is beautiful, he added. It was true. I have always loved the desert. It sits on a sand dune. We see nothing. Nothing is heard, and yet something radiates in silence. What beautifies the desert? Said the little prince. Oh, that was not a question. That was a statement. What beautifies the desert, said the little prince, is that he hides a well somewhere. I was surprised to suddenly understand this mysterious radiance of the sand. When I was a little boy, I lived in an old house, and legend had it that a treasure was buried there. Of course, no one has ever discovered it, nor perhaps even sought it, but he delighted the whole house. My house had a secret in the depths of her heart. Yes, I said to the little prince, whether it be the house, the stars, or the desert, what makes their beauty invisible? I am satisfied that you agree with my fox, he said. As the little prince fell asleep, I took him in my arms and set off again. I was touched. It seemed to me to carry a fragile treasure. It even seemed to me that there was nothing more fragile on earth. In the light of the moon, I looked at the pale brow, those closed eyes, the locks of hair that trembled in the wind. I said to myself, what I see here is only a bark. The most important is invisible. As his half-open lips were half smiling, I said to myself, What moves me so strongly about this little prince asleep is his fidelity to a flower. It is the image of a rose radiates in him like the flame of a lamp, even when he sleeps, and I guessed it even more fragile. It is necessary to protect the lamps. A gust of wind can extinguish them. And walking thus, I discovered the well at dawn. Chapter 25. Men, said the little prince, they go into rapids, but they do not know what they are looking for. Then they move and turn in circles. And he added, it's not worth it. The well we reached did not resemble the Saharan wells. The Saharan wells are simple holes dug in sand. This one resembled a village well, but there was no village there, and I thought I was dreaming. It's strange, I said to the little prince. Everything is ready, the pulley, the bucket, and the rope. He laughed, touched the rope, and pulled the pulley, and the pulley moaned as an old weather vane moaned when the wind had long slept. Oh, that is my mother. Sorry, thank you for your patience. Okay. Cool. Sorry, thank you for your patience. Oops. I can hear myself. Okay. Okay. You hear? Said the little prince. We awaken this well and sings. I did not want him to make an effort. Let me do it, I said. It's too heavy for you. Slowly I hoisted the bucket up to the curb. I installed him there plumb. In my ears was the song of the pulley, and in the still trembling of the water I saw the sun shaking. I am thirsty for that water, said the little prince. Give me something to drink. And I understood what he had been looking for. I lifted the bucket to her lips. He drank, his eyes closed. It was as sweet as a party. The water was so much more than food. It was born of the march under the sun, the song of the pulley, and the efforts of my arms. It was good for the heart as a gift. When I was a little boy, the light of the Christmas tree, the music of the midnight mass, the sweetness of the smiles made all the radiance of the Christmas present that I received. The men of your house cultivated 5,000 roses in the same garden, and they do not find what they seek, said the little prince. They do not find it, I replied. And yet what they are looking for could be found in a single rose or little water. Oh, that is what the little prince says. Of course, I replied, and the little prince added, but the eyes are blind. You must seek with your heart. I was drunk. I breathed well. The sand at daybreak is honey-colored. I was also pleased with the color of honey. Why should I have trouble? You must keep your promise, said the little prince, who had once more sat down beside me. What promise? You know, a muzzle for my sheep. I am responsible for this flower. I took out my drawing sketches from my pocket. The little prince perceived them and said, laughing, "You're baobabs. They look a bit like cabbages." "Oh." I was so proud of the baobabs. "Your fox, his ears, they look a bit like horns. And they're too long." And he laughs again. "You are unjust, little fellow. I knew nothing to draw but boas closed and boas open." "Oh, I will go," he said. The children know." "What?" So I cracked a muzzle, and I had my heart tight and gave it to her. "You have projects I do not know." But he did not answer me. He tells me, "You know, my fall on Earth, tomorrow will be the anniversary." Then after a pause he said, "I fell very close here," and he blushed. And again, without understanding why, I experienced a bizarre grief. However, a question came to me. "Then it was not by chance that the morning I met you a week—" Oh, yeah, no, I was fine. "Then it was not by chance that morning I met you a week ago. You walked like that, all alone, 1,000 miles from all inhabited regions. You were returning to the point of your fall?" The little prince blushed again. I added hesitatingly, "Perhaps because of the birthday?" The little prince blushed again. He never answered the question, but when you blush, it means yes, is it not? "Ah," said I am afraid." But he answered, "You have to work now. You have to go back to your machine. I'm waiting for you here. Come back tomorrow night." But I was not reassured. I remembered the fox. We risked crying a little if we let ourselves tame. 26. There was besides the well a ruin of an old stone wall. When I returned from my work the next evening, I saw Sorry, my parents don't respect a closed door. You know, it's fine. When I returned from my work the next evening, I saw from afar my little prince sitting up there with his legs dangling, and I heard him speak. "So you do not remember? It's not quite here." Another voice no doubt replied, for he replied, Yes, it's the day, but it's not here." I continued my walk towards the wall. I did not see or hear anyone, yet the little prince replied again, "Of course. You'll see where my trace begins in the sand. You just have to wait for me. I'll be there tonight." I was 20 meters from the wall, and I could still not see anything. The little prince said again after a silence, "You have good venom? Are you sure you will not make me suffer for a long time?" I stopped, my heart tight, but I still did not understand. "Now go," he said. "I want to go down again." That was the little prince. "Now go," he said. "I want to go down again." Then I lowered my eyes to the foot of the wall, and I jumped. He was there, standing towards the little prince, one of those yellow snakes that execute you in 30 seconds. As I rummaged through my pocket to take out my revolver, I took the step, but at the noise I made, the serpent slowly sank into the sand like a stream of water that dies. Pressing a slip between the stones with a slight metallic sound, I reached the wall just in time to receive in my arms my little prince, pale as snow. What is that story? You talk now with snakes? I had undone his eternal golden cowl. I had wet her temples and made her drink, and now I dared not ask him anything. He looked at me gravely and wrapped his arms around me. I felt his heart beat like that of the bird that dies when it was shot with a rifle. He tells me, "I'm glad you found what was missing from your machine. You can go home." How do you know? I had just told him that, against all hope, I had succeeded in my work. He did not answer my question, but he added, "I too today go home." Then melancholy. It's much further. It's much harder. I felt that something extraordinary was happening. I held him in his arms like a little child, and yet it seemed to me that he was flowing vertically into an abyss without anything to restrain him. He had a serious look, lost very far. "I have your sheep, and I have the case for the sheep, and I have the muzzle." And he smiled with melancholy. I waited for a long time. I felt that it was getting warmer by degrees. "Little fellow, you were afraid." He was afraid, of course, but he laughed softly. "I'll be more afraid tonight." Again I felt cold from the feeling of irreparable, and I realized that I could not bear the idea of never hearing his laugh again. It was for me like a fountain in the desert. "Little fellow, I still want to hear you laugh." But he said to me, "Tonight it will be a year. My star will be just above the place where I fell last year." "Little fellow, it is not a bad dream of a snake, a rendezvous, and a star?" But he did not answer my question. He tells me, "What's important is not seen." Of course. It's like the flower. If you love a flower that is in a star, it's sweet at night to look at the sky. All the stars are flourished, of course. It's like water. The one you gave me to drink was like music because of the pulley and the rope. You remember, it was good. Of course. You will watch at night the stars. It's too small for me to show you where mine is. It's better like that. My star, it will be for you one of the stars. So all the stars, you will love to look at them. They will be all your friends, and then I'll give you a present." He laughed again. "Ah, little fellow, I like to hear this laughter." "It will be my gift. It will be like water." "What do you mean?" "People have stars that are not the same. For some who travel, the stars are guides. For others, they are nothing but small lights. For others who are scholars, they are problems. For my businessmen, they are worth gold, but all these stars are silent. You'll have stars like no one has." "What do you mean?" "When you look at the sky at night, since I will live in one of them, since I will laugh in one of them, then it will be for you as if all the stars were laughing. You will have the stars that can laugh." He laughs again. And when you are comforted, you will be glad to have known me. You will always be my friend. You'll want to laugh with me, and sometimes you'll open your window for fun, and your friends will be astonished to see you laughing at the sky. Then you will say to them, "Yes, the stars. It always makes me laugh." And they will believe you crazy. I'll have played you a nasty trick. And he laughs again. "It will be as if I had given you, instead of stars, lots of little bells that know how to laugh." And he laughs again, then became serious again. "That night, you know, do not come. I will not leave you. I shall look as if I am in pain. I shall look a little like die. It's like that. Do not come and see this. It's not worth it. I will not leave you." But he was anxious. "I tell you that it's because of the snakes as well. He must not bite you. Snakes are bad. It can bite for fun. I will not leave you." but something reassured him. It's true they have no more venom for the second bite. That night, I did not see him set off. He had escaped quickly. When I succeeded in joining him, he walked resolutely with a rapid step. He only said to me, "Ah, you are the—" And he took me by the hand, but he was still tormented. "You are wrong. You'll have trouble. I shall look as if I am dead, and it will not be true." I was silent. "You understand? It is too far. I cannot carry that body. It's too heavy." I was silent. "But it will be like an old, abandoned bark. It's not sad, the old bark." I was silent. He was discouraged a little, but he made another effort. "It'll be nice, you know. I too will look at the stars. All the stars will be wells with a rusty pulley. All the stars will pour me to drink." I was silent. "It will be so much fun. You'll have 500 million bells. I would have 500 million fountains." He was silent too, because he was crying. "It's here. Let me step on my own." And he sat down because he was afraid. He says, "You know, my flower, I am responsible. And she's so weak and she's so naive. She has 4 thorns of nothing to protect her from the world." I sat down because I could not stand. He says, "That's it. That's all." He hesitated again a little. Then he stood up. He took a step. I could not move. There was nothing but a yellow flash near his ankle. He remained motionless for a moment. He did not shout. He fell gently as the tree falls. It did not even make a noise because of the sand. This is in another language. Probably French. He fell softly as the tree falls. There you go. This is probably like directly translated from Google Translate. Anyways. 27. And now, of course, it's been 6 years already. I've never told this story yet. The comrades who saw me were glad to see me alive again. I was sad, but I said to them, "It's fatigue." Now I have comforted myself a little. That is, not quite. But I know that he has returned to his planet, for at daybreak I have not found his body. It was not such a heavy body. And I like the night listening to the stars. It's like 500 million bells. But now something extraordinary happens. The muzzle I designed for the little prince, I forgot to add the leather strap. He could never tie her to the sheep. So I asked myself, what happened on his planet? Maybe the sheep ate the flower. Sometimes I say to myself, surely not. The little prince encloses his flower every night under the globe of glass, and he watches his sheep well. Then I am happy, and all the stars laugh softly. Sometimes I say to myself, one is distracted once or the other, and that is enough. He forgot one evening the globe of glass, or else the sheep went out quietly during the night. Then the bells changed into tears. This is a great mystery. For you who love the little prince as well as for me, nothing of the universe is like if somewhere, one does not know where, a sheep that we do not know has, yes or no, eaten a rose. Look at the sky. Ask yourself, did the sheep eat or not eat the flower? And you will see how everything changes. And no big person will ever understand that it's so important. This is, for me, the most beautiful and saddest landscape in the world. It's the same landscape as the one on the previous page, but I drew it once more to show it to you. It is here that the little prince appeared on earth, then disappeared. Look carefully at this landscape to be sure of recognizing it. If you travel to Africa one day in the desert, and if you happen to pass by here, I beseech you, do not hurry. Wait a little right under the star. If a child comes to you, if he laughs, if he has golden hair, if he does not answer when asked, you will guess who he is, so be nice. Do not leave me so sad. Write to me quickly that he has come back. And that's the end of The Little Prince. I am so sorry for my poor narration. My poor narration. I hope you enjoyed this reading. Goodbye. Yay. Shoot.